Introduction. In Chapter 1, all charges, whether free or bound, were considered to be at rest. Charges in motion constitute an electric current. Such currents occurs naturally in many situations. Lightning is one such phenomena in which charges flow from the clouds to the earth through the atmosphere, sometimes with disaster results. The flow of charges in lightning is not steady, but in our everyday life we see many devices where charges flow in a steady manner, like water flowing smoothly in a river. A torch and a cell driven clocks are examples of such devices. In the present chapter, we shall study some of the basic laws concerning steady electric currents. Electric current. Imagine a small area held normal to the direction of flow of charges. Both the positive and the negative charges may flow forward and backward across the area. In a given time interval t, let plus q be the net amount of positive charge that flow in the forward direction across the area. Similarly, let minus q be the net amount of negative charge flowing across the area in the forward direction. The net amount of charge flowing across the area in the forward direction in the time interval t then is q equals to q plus minus q minus. This is proportional to t for steady current. And the quiescent I equals to q upon t is defined to be current across the area in the forward direction. If it turns out to be a negative number, it implies a current in the backward direction. Currents are not always steady, and hence, more generally, we define the current as follows. Let delta Q be the net charge flowing across a cross section of conductor during the time interval delta t, that is between time t and t plus delta t. Then the current at time t across the cross section of the conductor is defined as value of the ratio of delta q to delta t in the limit of delta t tending to 0. The SI unit, the unit of current is ampere. An ampere is defined through magnetic effect of current that we will study in the following chapter. An ampere is typically the order of magnitude of current in domestic appliances. An average lightning carries currents of the order of tens of thousands of amperes. And at the other extreme, current in our nerves, electric currents in conductors. An electric charges will experience a force if an electric field is applied. If it is free to move, it will thus move, contributing to a current. In nature, free charged particles do exist, like in upper strata of atmosphere called ionosphere. However, in atoms and molecules, the negatively charged electron and the positively charged nuclei are bound to each other and are thus not free to move. Bulk materials is made up of many molecules, and a gram of water, for example, contains approximately 10 to the power 22 molecules. These molecules are closely packed that the electrons are no longer attached to individual nuclei. In some material, the electron will still be bound, that is, they will not accelerate even if an electric field is applied. In other material, notably metals, some of the electrons are practically free to move with a bulk material. These materials, generally called conductors, developed electric currents in them when an electric field is applied. If we consider solid conductors, then of course the atoms are tightly bound to each other so that the current is carried by negatively charged electrons. Thereof, however, other type of conductors like electrolytic solutions, where positive and negative charges both can move. In our discussion, we will focus only on solid conductors, so that The current is carried by negatively charged electrons in the background of fixed. Consider first the case when no electric field is present. The electron will be moving due to thermal motion, during which they collide with fixed ions. An electron colliding with an ion emerges with the same speed as before the collision. However, the direction of its velocity after collision is completely random. At a given time, there is no preferential direction for the velocities of the electron. Thus, on the average, the number of electrons traveling in any direction will be equal to the number of electrons traveling in the opposite direction. So, there will be no net electric current. Let us now see what happens to such a piece of conductor if an electric field is applied. To focus our thoughts, imagine the conductor in the shape of a cylinder of radius r. Suppose we now take two thin circular discs of dielectric of same radius and put positive charge plus q distribution over one disc and similarly minus q at the other disc. We attach the two discs on the two flat surface of the cylinder. An electric field will be created and is directed from the positive towards the negative charges. The electrons will be accelerated due to this field towards plus q. They will thus move to neutralize the charges. The electrons, as long as they are moving, will constitute an electric current. Hence, in the situation considering, there will be a current for a very short while no current thereafter. We can also imagine a mechanism where the end of cylinder are supplied with a fresh charge to make up of any charges neutralized by electrons moving inside the conductor. In that case, there will be a steady electric field in the body of the conductor. This will result in a continuous current rather than a current for a short period of time. Mechanism which maintain a steady current fields are cell or batteries that we shall study later in this chapter. In the next section, we shall study the steady current that results from a steady electric field in the conductor. Ohm's law. A basic law regarding flow of currents was discovered by J.S. Ohms in 1828, long before the physical mechanism responsible for flow of currents was discovered. Imagine a current through which a current I In the next section, we shall study the steady current that results for a steady electric field in conductors. Ohm's law. A basic law regarding flow of currents was discovered by J.S. Ohms in 1828. Long before the physical mechanism responsible for flow of currents was discovered, imagine a conductor through which a current I is flowing, and let V be the potential difference between the end of conductor. Then Ohm's law states that V is directly proportional to I, or V equals to Ri, where the constant of proportionality R is called resistance of the conductor. The SI unit of resistance is ohm and is denoted by the symbol omega. The resistance R not only depend on the material of the conductor but also on the dimension of the conductor. The dependence of R on the dimension of conductor can easily be determined